On June 23rd, Jörg Neumann, the head developer of Microsoft's iconic Flight Simulator series, held a presentation at the FlightSimExpo. Jörg, along with Sebastian Wallach, the CEO of Asabo, showcased new gameplay details for the next entry in the franchise, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Their presentation went into great detail, highlighting some of the biggest and newest features, gameplay, mechanics, and graphical improvements this upcoming title will have. The list of the biggest, most important gameplay features and improvements that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 will possess includes 16 pilot lifestyles, where you can realistically experience the lifestyle of several aviation jobs as showcased in this trailer.
The focus one we had to prioritize was aviation activities. So what's interesting, and these are the ones we showed in the trailer, by the way. What's interesting about the 12 million people is that we think about 3 million are core simmers, 3 million of them are core gamers, and the rest of them are more casual people. And what was fascinating, so we pulled a bunch of things, and like what we typically do, everybody, the one common thing of all of these people was that people wanted more stuff to do. That's why we said, okay, cool, fair enough, let's go make things like that, but we are not a game. So we're not making gamey type missions at all. What we're doing is accurate aviation activities. We're working with lots of organizations across the planet that do these things, that do firefighting, that do search and rescue. And this will be what this is. This is, and that's why we call it Choose Your Pilot Lifestyle. This is the pilot lifestyle. This is what people really do.
The other improvements include an improved thin client that will reduce installation and loading times, as well as reduce the footprint on HDDs and internet download usage. The improved client will also help keep the PC version's minimum specification requirements low, while still maintaining backward compatibility with the game's cloud servers. The game's engine will feature massive performance enhancements and allow aircraft creators more control of their chosen aircraft. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 will have you fly in dynamic worlds with fully realized immersive weather effects, like tornadoes, storms, full seasons, and even an aurora borealis. To increase the immersion even further, the texture details for the ground, mountains, and trees have been improved to be more realistic. On top of that, there will be animal herds, worldwide ship traffic, real-time air traffic, and improved traffic control to give players the feeling that they are flying in a living world. There will be more in-depth systems involved when piloting aircraft like electrical, hydraulic, fuel, and pneumatic systems, payload and passenger systems, failure and wear and tear systems, avionic packages with increased wideness and depth, and a cockpit tablet by default. Let's listen to Sebastian Wallach and Jorg Newman as they explain these improvements coming in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
33 updates, more and more stuff coming into the sim. So one of the biggest priorities for us was to make the clients thinner. When I read about people using the sim, the first thing they say, okay, it took a day to download, and then there's so many updates to do, and it's filling all my hard drive. When we started with 2020, we thought, okay, the world is mainly in the cloud. There's 2 petabytes or more of data in there. It's cool, the client is going to stay thin. And then we added planes and world updates, and stuff is coming in, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And so we had to do something to basically allow the sim to continue to grow and make it fit on the computer of the people. So we're completely changing the architecture of the sim to make it so that the client is going to come thinner and thinner, that more and more stuff is going to go up to the cloud, just like currently we have the terrain data, all that stuff in the cloud. So what is going to happen is that people who will launch the sim are only going to download what they need. They're not going to download all sorts of textures that are never going to be displayed. They're all, for example, for a world update, most of the stuff you download you will never ever see. Here the sim is going to look at what you really need and only download that. We even changed the texture system so that only the map levels that are needed are downloaded and not like a full 8K texture if it's an 8K texture. So this is going to reduce the footprint on the hard drive. This is going to significantly reduce the internet download use, maybe not while you play, but during the installation and all the updates, it's going to be much, much lower. It's going to reduce installation time, update time, loading time, everything is, marketplace download time, everything is going to be faster. Also, it's going to help us really with the min spec. As we move forward, we want to make sure the min spec stays low, it stays the same, and that everybody can launch the sim. And this is going to help keep people with a low hard drive being able to launch the sim and have enjoy all the world updates, everything that's in there. And we're doing all this by staying backwards compatible. We're keeping the same old community folder. Everything's still going to work. Add-ons are still going to work. It's just that we're moving more of our stuff up in the cloud. And we also have had a lot of requests on the physics simulation, on the aerodynamics simulation. All the new activities and all the new aircraft coming in are needing a lot of improvements on the simulation. And basically, when we look at where FSX was, it was just a single point in the center of the aircraft with a bunch of tables. With MSFS 2020, we changed that to have a lot of surfaces that cover the aircraft, but we exposed very little control. Aircraft makers could just tune a little bit of the size of the aircraft, wingspan, a few parameters, but they couldn't really control where the surfaces were. We did that once for standard aircraft with a single wing, single fuselage, and that was it. So now what we're doing is we're giving all the control to the aircraft makers. They can really control exactly where they want to put surfaces. They can do all that by themselves if they want. Also, we're creating templates, which makes it easier to make aircraft, so that basically you can reuse a fuselage that is existing. There's different types of fuselages. You can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 wings, any kind, or you can make your own stuff completely. The engine has been rewritten for a massive performance improvement. So it's going to be multi-threaded on a different core. It's going to go away from the main frame in terms of all the physics and aerodynamics. So massive performance improvements. It's going to handle rigid, soft bodies, tissues, rope. And so, for example, you've seen there's going to be balloon activities also, or when the helicopter is having the rope with pulling the cargo. This is all done with a sim, and it's something you can author and use with a simulator now. And everything is easy, so it's backwards compatible, aircraft still work, and it's also easy to upgrade. If you just want to pick one little improvement, you don't have to redo your whole, there's not something like a version 1 or version 2 and then you have to redo everything. It's exactly the same thing, but you can pick and add new things, and then slowly you can take out old things, or you can redo it entirely if you want. And so I have a little example video here. So for example, this is the Cessna in 2020, and this is the Cessna which is going to come in the new sim. Here's the body of the Cabri. Basically, I just quickly used the new system to make the fuselage more accurate, right? That's just using the system, and I did this in 5 minutes, really, just putting surfaces where I wanted. A lot of control and very easy to do. Same. So using the new surfaces, you can do balloon physics. You can. I mean, I'm not going to show this, but you can do parachutes. You can do bananas. You can do something like the yaw string, little string on the helicopter. You can just add a string, and it's going to be physically simulated and accurate. Using the CFD and all the airwash is going to be exactly simulated. Here's a little demo of a prototype of the balloon. So the balloon is not just going to be a mesh. It's going to inflate, deflate, having all the realistic, like when you turn on the heater. So all that is going to be simulated if users want to do that part. So the pressure, simulated density, it really inflates the balloon. Depending on how it's stitched together, here I just show you what happens if you, like, let's say you let the heat go and how it falls. So the aerodynamic simulation of these surfaces is the same than on the aircraft, really. And so we have this really very realistic airflow. And also you can see there's self-collision, so the surfaces touch. I mean, they don't just go collide. They don't go through each other, they just collide as they should. And voila. And so, yeah, and so we also have we had a lot of requests on all the other systems, so I'm not going to go into deep detail right now on all this, but we have the teams working on pretty much every system to make them better. And so, yeah, quickly going through them, but electrical, pneumatical, fuel, hydraulics. Important, we have a failure and wear and tear system, so planes get dirty and all that stuff. Payload, passenger, a lot of deeper and wider avionic packages. Important at the last EFB, cockpit tablet by default on all aircraft. That's really cool. And yeah, so in order to do all that, Jörg showed a team photo. The team grew really big. We had a lot of specialists, pilots, and even excellent aerodynamics engineer who worked on one of the best simulators there is out there, Andre, who is going to help me more and more on all these systems. And so, yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff and a lot of improvements in this new sim. Yeah.
All right. And the third focus area is the digital twin. For a variety of reasons, we can now land everywhere, and people want to actually see nice ground terrain. So there were a couple of things in the trailer that I want to explain. So this is a Grand Canyon, obviously, and it's actually something that was kind of an invention. Like this, nobody's done that before. Like we have these tin cities. I don't know how much you follow our stuff, but anyways, photogrammetry. So we figured out a way how to get photogrammetry for countryside. This is 15 centimeters. Looks great from here, but I think. But I wanted to show you what Asabo is going to be doing on top of that. So this is also just random tin somewhere in southern France. We do machine learning in Azure. We're detecting all kinds of surfaces, in this case, bushes and trees. Once we know that, we flatten those bushes and trees because they're ugly, and we replace them with our own. So then you have 3D. Then we add rocks. I don't know if you saw that, but they're obviously too dark, so we're looking at the color of the underground and adjust them. And then we add surface material detail maps, and then later we're going to add tessellation. And with that, we think we'll have a world that looks pretty damn good. And this thing is, so I saw the trailer breakdowns, very impressive. Lots of attention was given. And so you saw Kilimanjaro is different. And one of the issues with photogrammetry is we have to basically get airplanes over terrain, and that means you have to go talk to governments and stuff for approval. And you can't get that worldwide. It's impossible. So we invented something new, and we call that 3D out of 2D. So this Mount Kilimanjaro comes out of satellite imagery, which means we can go anywhere, and we can go 50 centimeters. It's not quite as good just because of optics, but it's still really impressive. So our advancement in areas that we couldn't get to before is going to be significant coming up. And then just a couple of other things. What are we doing with this? We divide the world into three areas: static, dynamic, and living. So the static world, improved ground details we just talked about. Tessellation of ground materials will be great. Enhanced tree diversity, you've seen it in the trailer. If you paid a little bit of attention, there's 3D trees. There's going to be lots and lots of different 3D trees. Gone are the days where our trees are too tall, or they're all the wrong trees. Like, some pine trees and somewhere on some island in the Pacific. Doesn't quite work. So that is all going to be better. And then also improved cliffs. That comes from resolution. Then the dynamic world, you saw full seasons. We actually, because I saw some comments about seasons that we promised it for FlightSim 2020. See, there I said it, 2020. We're actually talking about maybe doing this because with the 2D trees that we have, it's not that cool, honestly. There's only that much you can do. With 3D trees, you can do a lot more. Trees can shed their leaves, yada, 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 yada. But anyways, so we're going to bring 4 seasons definitely to 24, and we're looking into can we somehow do a backport of something to 2020. And then big things like Aurora Borealis, there's also the southern one, tornadoes, supercells, storms will be improved, so tons of stuff in the dynamic world. And then in the living world, we're making big investments to make it really, truly, we tried in 2020, but it's, if you played it, there were like little elephants over here and stuff like that. It wasn't exactly awesome. So we are bringing tons now to this new sim. We're also going to have worldwide ship traffic. That's a new system. Obviously, you can land on some ships, so that's going to be kind of cool. On the accuracy of the live air traffic, we are modeling like crazy what we call passive planes, basically the air traffic. And we're also trying to get as many liveries as we can. We're making progress. So you will see a much more realistic air traffic than what we have right now. And then there's also improvements being made to the...
With all these promised graphical and gameplay enhancements, with more to be announced in the future, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is aiming to be the biggest and most ambitious title in the series to date. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is coming to PC via Windows and Steam, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S sometime in 2024.